Paco Rabanne, you made a liar out of me. You were like, oh no wait, but we do have a foundation and we're gonna release it the second you leave Instagram, just so you know. Well, I didn't know, but then I had a couple people text me and were like, did you know? And I guess now I do know, and now I'm here to tell you. Paco Rabanne, or Rabanne Beauty. I don't think the Paco is part of the beauty line. It's the Rabanne Fresh Touch Foundation, and I got this information from Makeup on Your Radar. It's now available in Germany, and then in some of my previous videos, I talked about how Rabanne is a brand that I was like inclined to review because I think they're doing something a little bit different, which I think is kind of cool. Like, I love that. Like, we love brands that feel like they're doing something fresh, something cool, something unique, something fun. And it was on my radar to, it was makeup on my radar. It was on my radar to review, like do a full brand review where like I try it like on the sneak for a little bit. And then I come back to you with like a full report on how all the makeup worked for me. But they didn't have a foundation product. And that was what was holding me up, because I like to review brands that have a foundation product. And that's not to say that brands can't exist without a foundation product. I love a foundation. That's like a core part of like what I'm looking for in makeup, is like a good foundation. Not only a good foundation, like an incredible foundation. And that's a foundation for a brand for me, is like, I actually really want that to be excellent for me to like really buy into the rest of the brand. And so I was holding off on doing a brand review for this brand because they didn't have a foundation, and now they do. But also was like, there used to be one. There was one. The foundation existed before and it went away so fast. So that's why I just didn't do it. In August of last year, the foundation was promoted by Rabanne on Instagram, and there were already a few reviews of the foundation on YouTube. However, it was only available very briefly and disappeared before it could come to Germany. Rumor has it that it was recalled and is now being re-released with different wording. According to Rabanne, the Fresh Touch Foundation is a moisturizing foundation that ensures naturally radiant skin. This texture should feel light and fresh, fuse the skin, and have a pleasant feeling. The opacity described as easily medium buildable and a radiant natural glow. It is available in 30 shades. If you look at the arms, the shade range is strange, especially if you look on the deeper complexioned arm, like the deeper skinned arm. The shades go from light to dark on that arm in a weird way. It's not like a gradient from light to dark from the top. It's like dark, light, darker, dark, light, again, dark, 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 dark. And I think that might be like an undertone thing, but it shouldn't look that different from the previous shade. And I guess like the lighter shades do that a little bit, but like the darker shades, the tan and deeper shades, why is it like that, Rabanne? I'm really happy that Rabanne has released a foundation and I can consider reviewing the brand in full, because I think a lot of people were very interested in me reviewing the brand. And I feel like a lot of people have reviewed bits and bobs of the brand. Like, there are definitely reviews of the eyeshadows. There are definitely reviews of some other things. I was like watching Lauren May Beauty do a declutter recently, and I saw that she was decluttering some stuff that I didn't even know she had from Rabanne. It's one of those brands where I feel like it's around and like there's some content on it, but there's not like much. I'm not trying to say that there aren't people who already have like full brand reviews of this out there. It just feels like that content must be limited if like my audience is in search of it just a little bit. So food for thought. And now I'm thinking about it, but listen, I've been working on a brand review all year, and it's been a struggle. I'm wrapping it up now, and well, you'll see when you see it. Okay, so when you see it, we'll both know how that went. I guess I'm excited that they released a foundation, but if there's one category in my makeup collection that doesn't need tinkering, it's my foundations. For a beauty YouTuber, 5 foundations isn't a ton. But it's like, this is one realm where I'm like, I'm a little bit good. Like, thank you so much. But like, also, has your time passed, Rabanne? Rabanne foundation, have you come too late? Can you not save the brand? Not that the foundation was like something they needed to save the brand, but for me it was. And I guess I'm still not that interested. So I thought this was actually kind of interesting. MAC re-released some of its like discontinued lipstick shades. And there was one in particular that I was pretty interested in. And I don't have an attachment to MAC lipsticks, but I like MAC lipsticks. So I think this is fun. And there are a lot of people who probably have been shopping at the MAC counter since like day one who will really love this. Like people who probably bought these lipsticks and bought them again and again and again, and they got discontinued and now they're back. And so I hope that they were able to get it. But something tells me that someone who's been shopping at the MAC counter for 40 years might not have even known about this. They might not be on social media. This is a very like social media thing. I think that we could have just gone with the classic bullet MAC. Like, I don't think we had to do this. The 40th anniversary packaging is it's not cute packaging. It's very much giving Canva art. And I'm sorry to tell you that, MAC, but that's what it's giving. Maybe this art on the packaging is like akin to art on original MAC packaging or like original marketing stuff for MAC. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not like a MAC devotee. They have Up the Amp, Bubbles, Chintz, Suqqu, Flesh Pot, Shanghai Spice, Hot Gossip, and Double Shot. And wow, those names are wild. Like, do those names feel wild to anyone else? Flesh Pot, I believe, is the one that I was the most interested in, and it's definitely like giving concealer lip. And I just recently did a big declutter on my channel, and I decluttered this one lipstick, which was like a concealer lip, which I liked the concealer lip. I love doing like a dark lip liner with a concealer lip. It's something I love to do. I like it. I'm a big fan. However, the one really concealer lippy I had, the formula was terrible. God awful. I did not like the formula at all. So I kind of like am in the market a little bit for something like this. And considering I already know I like MAC's lipstick formula, again, not my favorite, but it's like, it felt like something that I might want to do. However, I think that these did sell out already. I cannot confirm that. Maybe you can still get them at the counters, but I feel like they're out online because I'm fairly certain I saw some makeup artists like begging MAC to like send them the shades because they like missed out on them. So I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if they're going to like restock these at all, but I know that this was like a pretty popular release for them too. I think it's a smart release for MAC. Their whole identity right now hinges on nostalgia and what people think of MAC, or what people thought of MAC 20 years ago, because I feel like they're not really making a name for themselves in the 2010s and the 2020s as far as like the makeup that they're doing. Like, they definitely have some hits come out every now and then, but nothing that they release has really like taken off in a long time where people were like, I need that, unless it's one of their limited edition drops. And this is another limited edition drop, which is only really based around nostalgia and nostalgic shades to people. I'm glad that people got what they want out of this. And I'm still on the hunt for a lipstick formula in a concealer lip, but it's not something I need right now. MAC just kind of reminded me about it with this release. But other than that, what are we gonna do? Like, can we talk? Like, hey MAC, can we just please do something interesting? Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Let the kids know. Let the kids know that you're not to be messed around with, that you are a brand that they should care about, because you're not doing a very good job of that right now. Sorry, babes. Quickly, suqqu released 2 limited edition powder highlighters. So the previously mentioned brand that I'm doing a deep dive review on is suqqu. I can't even say it's that deep dive of a brand because I think most of the products that I bought were limited edition products, whether they were limited edition shades or limited edition products. And that's something that will come up in the review, is that the turnover of products and how hard it is to kind of get them, at least in the US. Maybe in other markets it's not as hard. And, you know, there definitely, I know, are brands that are very easily available to me that are harder to get in other countries and other markets. One thing I like, just a little bit of a spoiler, is I bought one of their Pure Color blushes, which are kind of like a blush that has like a highlighter on one side and a blush on the other side, and like, I think the idea is to kind of like swirl them together and make a very glowy blush. Well, the highlighter side is very beautiful, which leads me to believe that this would be a very beautiful powder highlighter formula. But suqqu is not only a very hard brand to get in the United States, unless you have like a Selfridges membership, or I don't know if Harrods has a membership, but I think you can buy them through Harrods. And I think Cult Beauty also sells them, but Cult Beauty's prices are like way higher than the real prices of them. So like, you know, you're really kind of like picking your poison on how to get suqqu in America if you wanted to get it. So it's like hard to get, and it wouldn't be worth it. And also the limited edition stuff from suqqu, from my experience buying it, because stuff would come in and out of stock so quick, like in a matter of like minutes, like when I was checking the website. And that could be like, because I was buying my stuff through Selfridges, a Selfridges exclusive problem. But like it's just kind of like annoying to try to buy it. And that's not suqqu's fault. I'm not buying direct from suqqu. I don't know that I can buy direct from suqqu. However, suqqu, if you are listening, I would love to see that someday. Like, I think that'd be great. And I know that's probably really expensive for you, so you don't have to do it, but it'd be nice. Would love to try one. I'm not going to go on my way to buy it. I just got rid of all but one of my powder highlighters because I don't really like powder highlighter that much, I've come to find. It's not even that I don't like it, but it is. But it actually it is. I actually don't like it. I have one powder highlighter that I like. I kept it. The rest of them are gone. I'm sad. You know, I'm like waiting for someone to like come out with a powder highlighter that makes me really like go wowza kawooga, big the eyes coming out of my face. I don't think that day's gonna come. Kevyn Aucoin is releasing the Sculpt and Define Contour Book Volume 4, and it's $95, and it has contour, bronzer, blush, and highlight in it. Now, I will say this. I'm not one for face palettes, but this kind of stopped me in my tracks. I was scrolling through all of my usual Instagram accounts, Point Click Vibes, Makeup on Your Radar, Trend Mood. I'll link those all down below. Make sure you're following them if you're not already, if you're on Instagram. They help me be able to do this because like it's really hard to source this information. I was scrolling through Makeup on Your Radar and that's where this one popped up and I was like, what is this face palette? And it was Kevyn Aucoin. And then I was like, I kind of live. It's gorgeous. I still have my qualms with face palettes though, but I think the colors and textures for a face palette, and I also just think it's kind of like a gorgeous looking component. It's pretty, like it's gorgeous to look at. I've panned one of the contour powders from Kevyn Aucoin, like fully panned it. I've used some eyeshadows from Kevyn Aucoin. They're also really, really nice. I think that they do powder products pretty well, which leads me to believe this would be a very beautiful palette to have all in one. Let's get sassy. Let's do what we usually do. It does seem to only come in this one colorway, which is a problem because they only have 3 shades of their contour powder, like light, medium, and deep. And I think for the longest time, the medium one was like the only one that they had. And I'm sure that the one in here is the medium contour powder. This is only going to work for people with like light skin tones who have a light hand in makeup, or people with like a medium skin tone. But there's not something for people with deep complexion. That's always a problem. Second thing is always a problem. Even though I think this is beautiful, if I got this in my hands, I would like some of them, but I certainly wouldn't like all of them. And I'm much more compelled to reach for a singular compact where I'm like, that's the one shade I know that I want. That's the shade in the compact. I want to use that. Let's say I liked one of the blushes in here and I was like, oh, love that blush. Love that blush. I shut the face palette and I just think about it as the face palette and I forget what that blush looks like and I'm never going to reach for that palette for that blush specifically. And that way it kind of will languish in my collection. So for me, this kind of thing is a bad buy. But if you are someone who is looking to have something that has a lot of options for you and you're not looking to utilize a lot of space to store your blushes, highlights, and this is like the best solution for you, I don't think this is bad. And when you look at like the amount of things you're getting for $95, it's like, I don't know how much grams per pan there is. I feel like this is something that if someone only buys one makeup thing like this for themselves a year and they use it all year, I think it would like get you through the whole year. You would use a lot of it up. I think it's ultimately a W for them. Like I think good release. Addiction Tokyo released an eyeshadow palette. It's their 15th anniversary limited edition 15 color eyeshadow palette, available July 15th at addictiontokyobeauty.com. I don't know a lot about Addiction Beauty Tokyo. I don't know a lot about it. All I know is that within this calendar year, I think they started selling in America. The only reason I really know about this brand is because Michelle Wong has talked about them a couple of times, and she's a pretty big fan of what they have to offer. She was particularly excited that they were starting to sell in the American market, which is probably why Makeup on Your Radar is talking about it, because it's like, this market can actually buy it. I would have to assume that there are like Asian beauty, Chinese beauty, Japan beauty specific accounts that talk about new makeup releases in those markets. Is there? Let me know if there is, because I might be interested in just like seeing some of that. Not that I'm on Instagram right now. Don't follow me on Instagram. I'm not there. I've logged in a couple times, but only to do a couple of things on there, respond to a couple of messages and get on with my life. This palette kind of gives me like one of like Huda's 15 pan palette vibes. And I'm not like an all knower of like Huda Beauty's line. Kind of reminds me of something that Huda would put out. And that could just be the structure of the palette, the layout of it. It's just boring. I'm taking another look at it. It's like a lot of neutrals. It's like a palette that I would have liked if I didn't have the eyeshadows that I already have, right? It's like, it's very beautiful. I think it's beautiful, but it's also like boring. I don't know a lot about Addiction Tokyo's like previous work. Like, I don't know what their eyeshadow palettes typically look like. I don't really know a lot about what they do and what they're about. However, I think if we're doing an anniversary thing, let's talk about anniversary stuff. I think when we're doing like anniversary pieces, I think you have to be very specific about what you're choosing to do, because this should be the pinnacle and the culmination of all your work up until this point, right? Disney World has its issues right now. Okay. Like the Disney company is like, they're making some really weird choices with their amusement parks. However, whenever it's an anniversary, Like, they put a lot of money into that because they know it's like, that's the expectation of them. For me, this doesn't look like it's celebrating 15 years of something. Kind of the same thing could be said for the MAC lipsticks I talked about. It was like they were bringing back things, so it's a different approach, but like the packaging didn't look like something that we're celebrating 40 years. And I also think that the Pride palette that they released was like a 40-year anniversary palette. I feel like that was much more close to something that I would imagine being like, because it was a big palette, there were a lot of shades in it, a lot of color in it, it was a lot of like, you know, whatever. And like, say whatever you will about MAC eyeshadows, I've not tried them enough to like really have an opinion on them, whether or not that would be worth your money. But like, it felt like they tried to put something together that felt like worth some people's time if they were invested in the brand. And so maybe this is a culmination. This is the pinnacle. This is like the peak of what Addiction Tokyo can do. And the people who love Addiction Tokyo, like this, they look at this and they're like, Tom, that's exactly what that is. That's like the best thing that they've ever released. And then hopefully that's what it is. And I think another, you know, just to throw another brand under the bus, remember like Mothership 10 from Pat McGrath? We all thought it was going to be this like incredible thing where it's like, okay, this is the 10th Mothership palette. And then it came out, it was done. I just feel like this would be a letdown. In my eyes as an outsider, it's like, that doesn't look like something that at the 15-year mark that we're celebrating like everything that we've done so far. Kilian released or is releasing the Old Fashioned, and it has notes of Wheat Absolute, Divana Essence, Cedarwood Essence, Immortelle Absolute, Dirax, and Toulouse Balsam. This doesn't release until September 2nd. So that's kind of give the vibe of a fall release based on the scent profile. Kilian, what a wild rebrand that they did. If you're not familiar, Kilian's fragrances used to come in, and I only know this because I worked at Sephora. They used to come in these like round glass bottles, and the cap would be like the bottom. And so the sprayer would be on the top of the ball. You would turn the ball upside down and you would put it in the cap, and then it would sit like that, like, because the cap would be a square. Don't come for me, YouTube. Don't demonetize this because of what I'm about to say. It looked like an explosive device. like something that you would light a little string and then it would go kaboom, you know, like that's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. Were these big black, and then now they come in these really fancy glass packages, and I don't really know what happened. And I will say, like, the price point now aesthetically looks like it matches what they're doing, because those things they were like kind of cool, but they looked like more expensive than what they were worth at that time. And now they've tricked me, my brain, my little pea brain, to being like, well, now they're prettier, and so they must be worth the amount of money, because they were one of the more expensive fragrance houses that we carried at Sephora when I worked there. Tom Ford is always like the most expensive fragrances that we would carry, but Kilian wasn't far behind. Like, they were pretty closely priced, a little bit below. For those of you who don't know, my favorite alcoholic beverage is an Old Fashioned. I like that. And one of the reasons I like an Old Fashioned, when I do like to drink alcohol, I like to drink alcoholic beverages that taste like alcohol. So I want to be reminded that I'm drinking poison. I was just telling the story whenever I turned 21, and I was someone who mostly relatively waited until I was 21 to like drink. So I didn't really know what my alcoholic preferences were when I was 21. So I went out with my friend and we just kind of like bought like one of everything. Like, we like, not really, but we bought like, we were buying different things to try different things to just make sure, just to figure out what I had liked. And for some reason, whiskey, I'll drink it neat, was like at the top of the list. I mean, I'll shoot it too, but like neat. Anyway, Old Fashioned is basically like whiskey with a little bit of sweetness. It's great. I like a Manhattan too, but I also kind of like the smell of an Old Fashioned, which I understand is just like alcohol. I imagine it's not going to smell just like liquor, but it's gonna have something to it. And they have another fragrance, and I don't know what it's called, but I think it's like a bourbon fragrance, and it also smells really delicious. So I'm actually very keen on smelling this. Maybe I'll get a roller ball of it, or maybe I'll just go to Sephora if they carry it at Sephora or Nordstrom. Give it a. That's how I smell fragrance. I go up to the bottle, I go, put some nails on. Let me tell you the dumbest thing my hairstylist has ever said to me. If you are new to my channel or you only watch Critical Sass and you haven't been following the development of my hair, which is on a journey. It was one thing, we're going into another thing. So I'm growing out the back, and we're going to have like lots of hair back here. That's the goal. But it's taking a while because we were doing a skin fade on the back, but there was also the mullet at the bottom. Okay, that's what's happening. Christina, God bless her, she says to me, she said, well, when your hair is about 3 inches long, we could do extensions. The thought never crossed my mind that I could have extensions. Extensions! I'll be too powerful. She was like, yeah, we need to like get you to the point where you can start flipping your hair. And I was like, we sure do. And I was like, but, however, baby, I can't afford extensions. And she was like, I'll tell you where to buy cheap hair. If you buy the hair and bring it in, I'll install it. Anyway, if you want to Venmo me, I'm at hautemess Tom on Venmo, and you can support this life dream of mine of having hair extensions. I won't know how to act, and you won't know how to act around me. Ding dong, Chanel. Something I would like to say about Critical Sass. We're talking about makeup in this video. This is not an advertisement or support of a brand. If I like what they've done, doesn't mean I'm going to buy the thing. And if there are bad people involved with the brand, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm trying to exclusively talk about the makeup. And then if you know something else about the brand and that you choose not to buy from that brand, I hear ya. So anyway, we're going to talk about Chanel for a second. Chanel's fall release, they're releasing a couple of quads. And I don't know when these are coming out. I think there are only 2, but there's like 4 images of it and like it's zoomed in. This is what I'm looking at. So there's one that kind of looks just like purely autumnal. It's like burgundies, reddish browns, that kind of thing. But then there's a quad that has brat green, yellow, yucky yellow, pastel blue, and a pastel purple. It's like this weird it would work in a spring release. As someone who bought one of Chanel's products last year in their fall release, what I saw is not the official marketing. However, it does not seem like they're putting as much effort into this fall release as they did their last fall release, because if you recall, in fact, I can just put in the clip here of me gushing about the marketing. Okay, Chanel. Okay. They're previewing some fall stuff. The Equinox de Chanel. Fall's coming. It's the end of July, but we still have like 2 months of summer. As a fatty and someone who doesn't like the heat, I'm always ready for fall. Fall's my favorite season. I was born in the fall. So therefore, it is the best. I was born. We celebrate me in the fall. We get to dress up because it's Halloween, near my birthday. You don't want to dress up during summer. It's too hot. It's too hot. This imagery really sparked joy. Dark brown with these colors on top. And there's just something, it's like the captured, you know how the sunset is different in the fall? Do you know how the sunset, everything feels just more brown in the fall? The leaves are brown. All the leaves are brown. All the leaves are brown. The sky is gray. The sun is setting. Dingy, dark, brown, sunset, color, everywhere, sad color. I like sad colors. So this imagery just was like, oh, yes. And then I scrolled through the photos on a white background and I saw nothing that I wanted. As you can see, I was really excited about the marketing. The marketing, gorgeous, gorgeous. And the products looked great. I'm curious to see what the marketing will look like. And maybe that will sell it on me a little bit more. And maybe I will be more entertained by it. There is something really wild about Chanel choosing to do this pastel. And they are kind of yucky. They're yucky pastels. There's a little bit of yuck in them, and I appreciate that. But nothing's ever going to top my blush that I bought last year. That blush. This actually caught my eye because of what it is. And I'm not on the market for a bronzer, but by Terri released a bronzer, and it comes in 4 shades. So it's the Tea to Tan sun powder, which Tea to Tan, it reminds me of if you watch The Great British Bake Off, or if you happen to be a baker of any sort and you know a lot about baking. There's the tarte to tan that they sometimes make on. Sometimes make on Bake Off, and they say it so fast on Bake Off, and they say it in their beautiful British accents, and it's like the ta ta ta, and it's the ta ta ta, and it's the tea ta tan, the ta ta ta. It's so funny to me, and obviously tarte tan. Is that French? It's certainly not an English bake that they're making whenever they make that. Anyway, hydrating skincare infused bronzing powder with a natural matte finish. Multitasking powder enhances skin's natural radiance while providing hydration, smoothing, and protecting the skin for luminous, flawless complexion in a recycled copper and silver case. Clean and vegan formula. There's fair bronze, medium bronze, hand bronze, and deep bronze. And what I actually found exciting about this, bronzer releases, and I'm not going to say that they're tough for brands. They're tough for brands to get right. And there's a little, I kind of understand that. But as someone who has fair skin, a lot of times bronzers are just a completely wrong undertone for me, and they might not be light enough. They look pretty unnatural on me. That light one doesn't even look like it might bronze me, which is great for people who are even fairer than me if it is as the image shows. If that's actually like how light it is. This range is not deep enough in any way, and it does seem like 1-2 skip if you to get to the deepest shade. But I was just thinking that that light shade was of note because I feel like we just don't see a lot of bronzers go that light. So that was interesting. I just thought that was interesting. And it was actually the first time I think ever a by Terri product that I like zoomed past and I was like I need a bronzer, like I need a hole in my head. But I did think that's not, I would maybe buy that. Like it's not something I wouldn't buy. It looks like it's big. It looks like it's a baked powder formula. And I do like baked products like that. So I think I might actually really like this. I actually think I would really like this. I would be concerned about buying the fair one, but it looks like one of those ones that's like coming out in the summertime because they always release bronzers in the summertime. But for me, that fair one might be excellent. I already have my favorite wintertime bronzer and it is the Gucci bronzer, but I'm just saying it's like food for thought. Like maybe if this is a permanent product, maybe I'll revisit it. Like maybe it's like I'm putting a pin in it. I also like think that the cigarette smoking brown packaging, very akin to the Merit signature lip packaging, does something for me. I want everything to be tortoiseshell, have leopard print, and look like someone who smoked a lot of cigarettes in the 90s would be into. I don't know why that's like an aesthetic. It's like an aesthetic I'm attracted to. It's not like an aesthetic I want to wear. Maybe. Yeah. Give me some time. Wait till those extensions are in, okay? Fleur! Fleur! Someone... Fleur! 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 They're releasing something else. Stop! You're a fragrance house. You're gonna run out of things that smell. It's a body mist. Does feel like the tides are turning in the fragrances a little bit. Seems like we're going more fall. We're getting into the fall of it all. You know me, I'm not trying to wish this brat summer away, okay? That's not what I'm not trying to wish your summer away. People who like hot heat, people who like this, I'm done. I'm good. I'm not trying to rush through it for me. You can have your summer. I don't want it. They're releasing the Caramel Skin Body Mist. Notes of bergamot, caramel, warm milk, vanilla bean, caramel cream, brown sugar, sandalwood, and musk. And if you ask me, that sounds like a fall fragrance. However, I'm not really a gourmand girl. Like I don't like my fragrances to be like sickly sweet, but I like caramel. And there's a little bit of musk in the base. So something tells me I might like this. This feels like something I would shower at night and I would be like, ooh, just, and that's me. This is me walking through the mist. Ooh, and I'm certain, like, I wouldn't be wearing anything, so it would be mist, and it'd be like, ooh, walking through the mist, letting my body smell like caramel, beautiful caramel. I love caramel. You know, like, I don't know why this is the dream version of me. I don't know why. I saved this post to talk about this, and I was gonna come for Fleur. I'm still gonna do that. Somehow it turned into me like my fantasy self owns this. I don't know how they did that. I just read about it. I was Fleur. Stop it. Stop flirting with me. Don't stop it. You better girl, you just stop. I think in my last Critical Sass or 2 Critical Sasses ago, I talked about how like Fleur's always coming out with something. I've only really started paying attention to fragrance relatively recently with like a keen eye. I like it. I'm into it. I'm trying to learn more about it, broaden my horizons, see what I want to like and try more of, right? I'm like, that's where I'm at with it. Since I really become more attentive to fragrances, I have talked about Fleur. It's all made up. I've said Fleur so many times that I'm like, that's not real. Fleur. I don't know what happened. The tides turned and I got really goofy. I've talked about Fleur in every Critical Sass like kind of since then because they've been releasing something. And I'm like, girl, calm down. Take some time. Make something that smells really good. Because in my opinion, like Fleur fragrances are like weak sauce. That's why I'm interested in. But Fleur, I think you need to calm down. We can't be talking about your new rollouts every Critical Sass every month. And goodness gracious, you know when things ramp up, I start doing Critical Sass every other week. And if I'm starting to talk about Fleur bi-weekly and they're releasing something every other week, we have a problem. Alert, problem. Ooh, I just caught myself in the mirror and I was like, wow. Oh, I look so good in this dress. Did you see Marina opened for one Kylie Minogue? Marina, she's back on stage. She's singing again. Woo! Too Faced is coming out with 2 products. There's the Born This Way Soft Blur Flexible Finish Setting Powder. Honestly, soft blur setting powder sounds good to me. It comes in a heart-shaped compact, and I never got to have one of the heart-shaped compacts. And I know ColourPop also makes them, but I also don't buy from ColourPop. I don't really buy from Too Faced. So where's my heart compact coming from? Someone make a heart compact for me. Someone do it. Show me to me, Rachel. Give me a heart-shaped compact. Anyway, that's not what I really want to talk about. They also released the Disco Crush eyeshadows. The Disco Crush eyeshadows, I think they released one a while ago. Like, they released one shade of it and must have done well enough that they were like, we'll release more. The thing about spaghetti straps is like they're there and they're present. They like slide off the shoulder and you like know it and you're like doing all this. It's like a little wiggle, you know, going. Anyway, this is a clear response to the popularity of the Moondust eyeshadows from Urban Decay. And I think the packaging is kind of, I think it's cuter than the Urban Decay. And also the Urban Decay eyeshadows must be falling in popularity because they're starting to get included in like 40% half off sales for a very long time. The Moondust eyeshadows did not qualify. Just saying, so keep your eyes peeled. I think I would buy one of those, but I'm not going to buy one of those. I just decluttered a lot of eyeshadow, but not really for this video, but I bought eyeshadows. That was me dodging your tomatoes. And I'll harp on this again in another video because I love to talk and I love to repeat myself. But I bought 2 single eyeshadows from Glaminatrix because in my declutter video, I asked if people knew of single compact magnetic things so I could rotate single shadows up into my other drawer. Glaminatrix was one of them. For those of you who don't know, Glaminatrix is an Australian brand. So they're compacts, very inexpensive, but I was going to have to pay $14 in shipping anyway. I bought like 5 because I don't really need that many of it. And I was like, if I'm paying $14 shipping, I don't want to just buy that. And I didn't want to buy eyeshadow palettes, so I bought 2 single eyeshadow shades. And I used my friend Nooper's code. So if you ever buy from Glaminatrix, use Nooper's code. She's great. Follow her on Instagram. YSL released this. It's a new mini couture eyeshadow clutch. There's not like a name for it. I don't know if this already came and went. This image dropped when I was still on Instagram actively, and I remember going, ooh, I gotta talk about that. This packaging sends tingles up my spine. It's got me, I have criticized YSL's squishy packaging before because I don't really like the leather, but this, I like this. I like this. I like this. Do I like the eyeshadow colors inside? No. But I would love if there was an option to get one of the other eyeshadow quads inside of this packaging. Think about it, YSL. Let me customize. I think the regular line is much more appealing than this. I think it's interesting. I like that they did it. It's cute. I love packaging. I wouldn't buy this though. I would love to like just have it. But I don't want it actually. Like I don't really want this because when I look at the eyeshadows inside, there's not a lot of texture happening there. And like surprisingly, that's one thing that they do really good in those quads is like there's like 4 usually distinct textures in there, like a matte, a satin, a metallic, and like a glitter topper. And it's like this doesn't have any of the pizzazz of that. It's just like 4 colors you wouldn't find in YSL usually and packaging you wouldn't find from YSL usually. I respect it, okay? I'm not gonna buy it. Okay, let's talk about this because I'm in my horror bag right now. I don't really talk about it on my channel, but I love a horror movie. I love horror. I love it. It's like maybe my favorite genre of movie, or I love a movie where like nothing happens. I love a long drawn out drama where like not a lot happens. I don't know what's wrong with me. Anyway, love horror. Love horror.
Love pink.
I saw Maxine. Wasn't really a horror movie. Enjoyed it. Not my favorite of the trilogy. Watch Pearl. If you like horror and you haven't seen Pearl, why haven't you watched Pearl? Why haven't you watched Pearl? Even if you don't like horror movies, watch Pearl. It is a horror movie though, so you'll be scared, but it's so good. And I say it's so good, it's not because of like the gore in it, it's like the story is so good. And X is also really good, but I would say that's like a little more straightforward horror.
Please, I'm a star!
Love Pearl.
Love pink.
Glamlight is releasing the Chucky Good Guys collection. So it's like Chucky before Chucky's turned. Nice Chucky. And I had a doll that looked like this. It wasn't a Chucky doll, but it was like a redheaded doll. And it scared me because one time I was at my friend's house whenever I was like really, really too young, and she put Chucky on for God knows why. And I was so terrified of the thing. I put it in the back of my closet. I was like, it's going to murder me. I just want to talk about the conceptually. Love that this exists. I wouldn't touch it. It's not for me. It's not for me in any way. But I think it's cool that they did this. Oden's Eye released the Solman collection for summer 2024 and has a palette and a highlighter and a couple of blushes. So what I've gathered from the time I've followed Oden's Eye is that if Oden's Eye isn't doing a collab with an influencer, it kind of looks like all the other stuff that Oden's Eye ever does. Now, I know that Oden's Eye kind of like started with those like 5-pan palettes that had the split pan in the middle. This doesn't look much different than any of their other eyeshadow palettes, in my opinion. And I'm just kind of, I feel like it's like, oh, we've seen that from you, Oden's Eye. But I do feel like when they work with the influencers, like when they do those influencer collabs, those work out really well. Like, I think they always look really cool. Whether or not I'm like actually 100% interested in them, that's a completely different thing. I normally feel like those color stories are like honed in, give you something different. And, you know, every now and then I think that Oden's Eye, like, it will hit out of the park with one of their own releases. Like, what would, like, the jewel collection that they did? That was cool. I loved both of those palettes. I thought they were both really pretty. But this is like, okay, it's really tough out here. You know, it's like we've seen a lot, and we've seen this. Victoria Beckham released a body oil. It's the Portofino 97 Golden Shimmer Body Oil, a golden touch on skin laced with the transportive citrus scent of a seaside escape in an ode to a burgeoning romance and the early rendezvous of Victoria and David on the Italian coast. A mix of golden bronze pearl, lightweight, a citrus woody scent, fresh sea breeze clouded with incense and amber, a lingering trace of patchouli, musk, and vetiver punctuates the desire. Now, I will say I got an email for this product. And I went, Victoria, how dare you? I was minding my own business. And if you recall, it was in the last Critical Sass, I talked about another shimmering body oil. And it's like, I have so many shimmering body oils. I don't need another shimmering body oil. But this made me feel like I did. I don't. But it's Victoria Beckham. It's a body oil. I want to be outside so bad. But I hate being outside. And I know that's not, you're like, so you could just be like, Tom, you could just go outside, but I hate it. Like, I don't like it. I don't want to do it. Don't make me. I don't like being outside. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate being outside. I want to look like a beach person. I want to feel like a beach person. Like beach people, like, what? How do you do that? But I'm not a beach person. If I go on vacation, I'm like clomping around a city. But I want to be the person who just sits by the pool and just my legs are just reflecting light back into the sky. And it's just because I'm shimmering a body oil on. I'm a little bit tan. But I'm not her. But Victoria Beckham makes me want to believe that I can be her. It's Portofino 97. I haven't smelled any of the fragrances. In theory, I love body oil. In practice, I very rarely wear body oil because it's a sensory nightmare most of the time, unless it's like a dry oil. There's always goop. I'm just so goopy. But I love my Tom Ford one. But guess what? I bought it in 2016 and it's only halfway gone. Why should I buy another expensive body oil to pretend to live a fantasy I just don't really live? Because like wearing it and sitting in the house is like, what's the point? Well, I wouldn't wear it to a pool. I don't really go swimming. So it's like, why would I wear that? And it's like, often I'm just outside to get to another inside. Inside, like, I don't want to have cocktails on the patio. If it's 90 degrees out, it's too hot. It's too hot. Call me whenever it's 70 degrees out. Maybe I'll do it. And then I can cover myself in the body oil. But just like, the body oils deserve to be in the natural sunlight where they can just glisten. And I just don't do that. It's not for me. Hourglass released liquid blushes. It's I think it's called, is it the Unreal Liquid Blushes? 7 different shades. I think at first I was like, ooh, I like the idea of that. But in true Hourglass fashion, I don't like any of the blush shades. Hourglass's blushes, I like their powder blushes a lot. I think they're really, really great. I don't have any in my collection right now. The thing about Hourglass blushes is that there's just none in the collection that are like like a nude or like a beige. That's like what I'm looking for. I just feel like they play it so safe with the colors, and it's not even like they try. The only color I think I would like in this collection, I think it's called Scene. I saw Michelle Wong use it and I was like, oh, that's just pink. And that's the last thing I want. I don't want a pink blush. It's a beautiful pink, but it's not what I need. And also it kind of looked very similar to a blush that I got from Bella Vitae Bar that they sent me very kindly. And I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to keep it because I think it looks pretty on me, but it's like, also, I don't know how much I'm going to wear it. So I've been really relatively recently like trying to force myself to wear it and be like, am I her? Is that what I am? Do I like that? The component, I think, is the same component as the Ritual de Fille foundation. It looks very similar, which leads me to believe it's going to be flimsy packaging, which Hourglass is already known for having flimsy packaging. Anyway, I'll let the people who want to try this live it and love it, laugh it. Good for you. Good for you. But it's not, I don't need to be part of it. It's not for me. From Fenty Beauty, they released a new shade of their Gloss Bomb Lip Luminizer in the shade Major Flex, and it's a shimmering multicolored gun metal. And I was told by people in my comment section that this is a collaboration with Roblox. Every time I talk about the lip lac from Izumaya in the shade Metal, which was sent to me in PR very kindly by the brand, I don't think it's a product that's worth $40, but I really love it. And I keep thinking, like, I don't want to re-buy it when I'm done with it, but I want something like it. This has been pitched as like maybe a replacement for it. The thing is, I think this is limited edition and I still have the one from Izumaya. So I don't need to buy this. I don't need to buy it. And also, if you go on Instagram, a lot of people have resourced like dupes of this. So I'm not the dupe lip person. I'm not the dupe person because I just don't like to hold on to things that are very similar because it's just, if I'll just use the version that I like the best and I will just not use the other one. So I don't need to do that. And like, you can definitely like, there are resources available to you if you're interested in this kind of thing, but you don't want to buy the Fenty one or you don't want to buy the Izumaya one. Based on like the lip swatches, I don't think it has enough sparkles in it to really satisfy my need. Anyway, I really love the Fenty lip gloss. I panned 2 of them. I like that we're seeing like in the Western market a little bit more of something like this. And that wraps up Critical Sass. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. What you saw here is one facet of me trying to help myself and help you build a habit of being more discerning about the makeup that we are buying. I also talk about fashion and fragrance in the same kind of vein, where it's, do we already have something that can satisfy the itch? Let's not just buy because we can. Let's like take a moment, take a second to think about whether or not that might really be a good purchase for us. So subscribe if you're into that. I also have channel memberships and a Patreon if you want to do that. That's just an additional way to support me to keep the channel chugging along. But if you don't have the money or simply do not want to do that, no pressure. I'm happy that you're here. Liking, commenting, and sharing my content is the best way to help me, or if you love another content creator, that's how you can help them too. I have linked down below a GoFundMe to help a family in Gaza. Check that link. I got it from Operation Olive Branch. So if you didn't want to support me on Patreon or didn't want to or don't have the funds, if you do have the funds but don't want to do that, I would love for you to support this family. Check that out down below if you want more information on that. And that's going to wrap up the video. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to follow your hope. And you'll find me. I'll see you in a video very soon. Go forth. Tits out. White stockings, black shoes shouldn't be allowed in the church. Oh, baby.